What's going on, gardeners? On today's 2-minute garden tip, I'm going to show you 2 tools that have revolutionized the way I water my garden. I've been singing the praises of drip irrigation for years because of the enormous amount of time you will save each year watering your garden and the enormous amount of water you will save, leading to a greatly reduced water bill. But all drip irrigation systems are not created equal. If you plant out your entire garden first and then you run your drip irrigation lines when all the gaps in your garden are filled in, you may run into a problem later in the year when you start pulling out all of your plants. And what you will wind up having is big gaps in your soil that you'll still be running drip irrigation to, and you may decide you don't want to run the drip irrigation anymore because you're watering where there are no plants growing. The way I've gotten around this problem is on all of my raised beds, I've installed these shutoff valves in the 1/2-inch mainline distribution tubing. So right now I have my beds on because this bed is fully planted out. But later in the year, when I pull out all of these spring crops, the bed is going to be barren, and then all I have to do is take this valve and turn it off, and that will permanently shut off water to this bed. So when designing drip irrigation for your garden, it's a very good idea that you place individual shutoff zones for each raised bed, or if you're growing in an earth bed, in each row. That way you can turn them off when they're no longer occupied. While those big shutoff valves work great for all of my individual raised beds, they don't work for the perimeter beds around my garden because they are all on one single zone. But luckily, there is a solution for that as well, so I don't have all of my drippers running in vain. In addition to installing shutoff valves at each individual raised bed or each individual row, you can also install individual shutoff valves for each dripper or each segment of 1/4-inch drip line. These individual shutoff valves can control the flow to the 1/4-inch drip tubing. So right now I have drip irrigation that's running to this cucumber plant, but in about 3 months or so, that cucumber plant is going to be dead. Rather than have to rip out this dripper and install a goof plug in the distribution line, I can simply turn off the dripper by twisting that shutoff valve. Now I can leave that dripper in place for any time in the future and shut it off completely. Then when I want to open it back up for a new planting, I just unscrew that shutoff valve. These 1/4-inch inline shutoff valves also work brilliantly for a container garden because you can shut off the drippers to each individual dripper inside a container. So soon I will be retrofitting my container garden and I will be installing an inline shutoff valve in every single pot. If you're curious where to buy drip irrigation parts, I recommend Drip Depot. Their quality and selection is unparalleled. And in the video description, I will drop a link to my Drip Depot affiliate store. I will also place a direct link to purchasing these 1/4-inch inline shutoff valves. So by installing 1/2-inch shutoff valves in the main line at each individual raised bed or row in your garden, then further breaking down the system and installing these 1/4-inch inline shutoff valves for all of the distribution tubing, you can manage each dripper individually, maximizing your water efficiency and also having a drip irrigation system that you never have to disassemble. And that's today's 2-minute garden tip. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell to receive new video notifications, and check out our Amazon storefront and spread shop in the video description for a list of the gardening products I use and awesome custom designed apparel and other gear. Your support is greatly appreciated.